Start the show now.
Good evening, one and all, and we are coming up with our last session of today. The panel discussion topic is impact of artificial intelligence in K12 education. Are we future ready? And for this, we have panelists. So starting with Mr. Anil Arora, Principal, Cambridge International School, Dasya. He will be the moderating the session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Devika Chatterjee, Director Principal, JCB International School, Borivali, Mumbai. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Dr. Jasjeet Keshud, Principal, OPS Vidya Mandir, Karnal, Haryana. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone.
Mr. S.K. Pandey, Principal, Delhi Public School, Visakhapatnam. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar.
And last but not least, Revati Srinivasan, Education Director, Srimati Sulochana Devi, Singhania School, Mumbai. Welcome, ma'am.
Namaste.
Namaste, ma'am. So one more panelist is about to joining Dr. Rajesh Kumar Chandel, Principal Gyan Ganga International School, Jabalpur. Okay. Some technical issue from their side will not able to join. Will join in between. Till then, I'm handing over the virtual dice to Mr. Anil Arora, Principal, Cambridge International School, Dasya, for the moderating the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, and thank you all the co-panelists. And looking forward for a very fruitful discussion today. Now, artificial intelligence. To tell you about my background, I am a computer science engineering graduate, and I came into this profession by choice. So, perfectly saying, it was more of a love marriage with this profession. So, I enjoy my each day of learning, and each day, believe me, I very passionate about my work. I'm working in a school in Punjab, where the kids are more than 4,000 plus students are studying in one campus, and we do quite a lot of 21st century learning, and we explore quite a lot of new possibilities. Now, coming to the today's topic, I always used to dream few years back that Apple, Samsung, Microsoft is going to make physics, chemistry, mathematics, English teachers, and we'll just open those boxes in the classroom and say, now this is an Apple physics teacher, or this is Microsoft chemistry teacher, or this is a Samsung English teacher. So this was the thought which always used to come into my mind. But now down the line, one thing I have understood that teachers cannot be replaced. These all tools, artificial intelligence and other things are just to help us to take things to the next level. Now, according to me, since being a technical graduate, what is artificial intelligence? That the computer cannot think on their own. Like we need to put in some kind of process, some kind of coding in that, and they work according to the code. They don't understand, or they don't innovate, or they don't do anything on their own. So they do whatever it's already commanded to them. But now with artificial intelligence, we are making them intelligent. They learn from every outcome, and they start taking decisions on their own. This is very interesting, very interesting. And this would give quite a lot of way to personalized learning, deep learning. We could even check that we always talk about differential learning, and the differential learning was very difficult for a teacher where there are 35, 40 students in a particular class. Now with artificial intelligence, I think that one-to-one support can be given to every child, because every child can move with their own pace. So let's take this discussion forward, and let's see that how we all can contribute into this. So let's start with Mr. Pandey. Good evening, sir. He is Principal DPS Vishakhapatnam. Sir, if you can give your opinion about, like, is artificial intelligence changing India's learning system, or do you believe that it is going to change how the education is being handled or perceived in our country? Over to you, sir.
Good evening to all of you. Dear sir, well, I take my journey back to 1998 when I joined one of the DPSs in Madhya Pradesh. And out of these 24 years of my journey as part of progressive school in India, I realized that children, those who were provided the computer and technology as tool, have various advantages over the other children. And not getting into details because the time is short. Now, because our homes are smart, our vehicles are smart, and our machines are smart, it is very obvious that we are supposed to bring this smartness as a part of our school curriculum, as a part of school teaching learning. It is not only because last 2 years the schools were not functioning properly, there were restrictions imposed, and we were supposed to find out alternative ways to educate the children and to make reach to them. But even well before that, technology and artificial intelligence, machine way thinking was already a part of our progressive curriculum. I remember as per the provisions of National Education Policy 2020, the provision is already made that now the teaching learning will be in blended form. So if we want our children to be prepared for tomorrow, it is very obvious that we are supposed to take them to that side. And we can see that most of the schools, like it has come as a part of our curriculum. We cannot run a school without making artificial intelligence as an integral part of school teaching learning. Even going to our boards, whether we are teaching CBSE board curriculum or even other boards, I believe that these subjects are well adopted by the boards in India, and most of the good schools are already into the process of training their teachers, making it as a part of the curriculum in various classes, different stages. Class 6 to 8, coding is suggested by CBSE. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, AI is a part of the optional subjects, skill subjects. So, I find myself to be, having advantage, and I also find that it is an obligation on part of the school to be ready for the future, to train the teachers to take the teaching learning to the children, so that the advancement in the world for which we are being recognized, that is further being taken care of. We have the generation of students, a generation of people who are future ready, and therefore it looks to me that artificial intelligence is going to be an integral part of our system. As Anit Arora sir has rightly pointed out, that it is not going to replace the teachers in the class, but yes, as a tool, this will help the children. As he was talking about, differential approach to the class, there are various segments of the children in the class. So with artificial intelligence, children can be taught in customized way, in individual kind of approach. They will be able to learn the lessons at their own pace. And many of them, those who have mathematical and logical abilities, they will certainly be able to take this futuristic technology to even the further stage also.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And believe me, it was quite informative that you have told us about being ready, that the schools are already into coding, they are already into artificial intelligence, and it's a mandate into an national education policy also that it has to be done. And you have started training for your team members. I think it's a great initiative. So I would request now Dr. Jasjeet Sood, and she's principal OPS Vidya Mandir Karnal. And I would just like to request you to share your views that, like, implementing artificial intelligence at a large scale, will it help us to fix the loopholes which we have into our current education system? Like I was seeing a video a few days back. In that video in China, what they have done, they have given them a band, and that
Yes,
band
yes.
got a green light, and it would actually catch and monitor that how exactly the brain is, whether the brain is focusing, and what kind, whether the child is concentrating well or not, and what kind of whole activity is happening inside the brain. And then at the background somebody is actually tracking it and helping the teachers to understand every child, that at what particular point they were attentive in the class, what exactly the teacher was doing, so they lost interest, so that the quality of teaching learning could actually improve. So then there was the feedback of the students. Many of the students are not happy with that. They said that the band used to give them quite a lot of stress. So all had
Exactly.
different kind of mixed opinions. And see, I personally believe that if somebody is monitoring my class to a level that a headband is there and the light is actually scanning my brain and reading how what I'm thinking, my attention level, then the beauty of classroom would go. So you really need to help us, Rajit Madam, that at a large scale, if we implement into the whole school system, and how it is going to happen. Over to you,
Good
Madam.
evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
India has 260 million students in its 1.5 million schools, the biggest education system in the world. Over the past 7 decades since independence, we have made commendable strides in expanding the educational provision as well as quality of education. We have inherited improvised education ecosystem, which over the time has transformed into a system which is much organized by the various actions of the government, beckoned by very progressive policies. Given the pace of technological advancements and requirement of Industry 4.0, the educational strategies need regular reviews and updation. Today, India is rising to the occasion by integrating artificial intelligence as well as AI induced solutions to overcome shortcomings and to plug the various loopholes which are prevalent in the current education system. As we can see in new education policy also, some of the loopholes they are addressed to, and the solutions they lie in effective and scalable use of artificial intelligence in schools. Schools in India, if we talk about government schools particularly, schools in India, they have been plagued by high drop out rates, especially in the upper elementary and secondary levels in rural sector of this country. So now, this trend causes a major dent in human resource ambitions of the country. The loophole puts the future of many bright kids in limbo and amplifies inequality in society. By leveraging the power of machine learning and analytical, the AI powered Microsoft Soft app is now available, and this app is able to predict chances of student dropping out based on patterns identified from complex data sets. So once the problem is identified that this thing is going to happen, obviously appropriate steps can be taken. The second loophole, which I think all of you will agree and is prevalent in private as well as in all government schools also, that is poor learning outcomes and rote learning. It is attributed, I can say, to the ineffective and outdated methods of instruction and delivery that largely conform to the one size fit all approach, because nowadays in many of the schools, in 90% of the schools, if we see that class size of 40 students, 30 to 40 students catered by one teacher, and instruction is one size fit all approach, that approach is followed, and this is major problem. And in reality every child is unique, and since every child is unique and so is the learning system or the learning challenges of the child, they are you know also unique, and they are specific to the particular child. So there are some AI based solutions like Jungro, Tingster Maths, they help to solve this, problem of adaptability. Self-paced learning is there. If one sum is having a particular difficulty level, this and the student is able to do that particular problem in the given time, then next problem which comes in front of the student is little bit of higher level. So in this way the pace of learning can be different with different students. So these automated tools lead students on the shortest path to realize their goals, and all the time providing real time assessment and growth. And another loophole which we all were feeling was the empowerment of teachers through various training programs and proper faculty which can empower about ICT tools and integration of AI or ICT tool in uh, curriculum. That was lacking. This gap needs immediate addressal given by the rapid proliferation of cloud based tools in K12 teaching and subsequent need for tech friendly facilitators. Now, how this problem is solved nowadays, we can all see to it that CBSE and Microsoft has joined hands to set up capacity building programs for teachers of classes 8 to 10 from September 2019. And a lot of training sessions they are done with the teachers across the whole nation. So this is the best example of use of ICT and artificial intelligence. Another is differentiated and individualized learning, which was not possible before the invasion of AI into the schools, because there are several companies such as Content Technologies, Carnage Learning, currently developing intelligent instruction design and digital platforms that use AI to provide learning, testing, and feedback to students right from the pre-K to the college level. And these softwares they identify the gap in knowledge and redirect to the topics with appropriate skill set. Another problem or loophole which was there and is addressed by this invasion of AI is artificial intelligence tools can make global classrooms available to all, including who speak different languages or who might have visual or hearing impairment. There is the AI based tool, Presentation Translator, and it is a free plugin or PowerPoint that creates subtitles in real time for what the teacher is saying. This also opens up possibilities for students who might not be able to attend the school due to illness or who require learning at different level or on a particular subject that isn't available in their own school. AI can help break down silos between schools and between traditional grade levels. And already almost most of the schools they have automated their admin tasks using the AI based softwares. And so in this way the AI is basically in everywhere, in teaching learning process, in assessment tools, in management. So it's almost everywhere and addressing to all the problems. And the issue is that we need to scale it up. If it is there in one school, and it can be there in every school by very smart planning and strategizing. And in time to come, the future lies in it that the students who are today in schools, they are going to face the world which is driven by the AI is the reality of the future. So it's important for our educational institutes to expose the students to use the technology also, at the same time that how they can also learn coding in junior classes, and they can also make small programs. Another is gamification, that also helps in understanding the different concepts in proper way. So I think it is the time when facilitators, teachers, they need to empower themselves with AI skills so that they can better guide the students how to use these softwares and what kind of programs are available. Because various programs are free of cost, so students can make use of these to upskill themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasjeet, madam. It was quite a lot of information. I truly agree with you that today most of us we get into this concept of one size fits all, and with artificial intelligence we can have it more customized, more personal, and the differential learning can actually go a big way. And secondly, the children with special needs uh, can be quite a lot of benefit can be given to them. Now, Dr. Rajesh has joined us recently. Welcome, Dr. Rajesh. He's principal of Gyan Ganga International School, Jabalpur. We were eagerly waiting for you. We'll come back to you after a few minutes. Now, over to Deepika Chatterjee,
I
madam.
was, thank you, sir. Thanks for. I was having some constraints. If you allow me, or as the panel suggests.
Like sir, after this, we'll get back to you because now the next question, next topic of discussion is with Dr. Deepika. She is Director Principal JBCN International School, Borivali, Mumbai, and you need to discuss like the artificial intelligence systems can adapt to individual student learning. Will it be beneficial to students and teachers? See, my idea into this is that every child can take terms with the previous class. Suppose I'm into grade 7, I'm good into maths, I'm good into sciences, but I'm not good into social science. So, though I have moved to the next class, but I should be allowed to study the social science of the last class. There should be some tool who is actually plugging up all the deficiencies or all the learning gaps which were not completed in my previous lesson, previous class, though I have moved to the next class. So I always wanted to develop this kind of a tool where the student is in grade 9, but they can also study something which was not very clear from grade 6 or grade 7. Now this is possible. Now, I think this is something very exciting that these kids would go to entirely a next level of teaching learning. So, madam, if you can just help us into this and share your thoughts into this. Over to
Yeah,
you,
good
madam.
evening, everyone. And it's been very
Please.
interesting to hear everything that my fellow panelists have been speaking about. And I do agree that we all should be learning at our own pace. We should be learning things that interest us at a time that interests us. So that is, I think, the boon of the modern education system that is powered by AI. And I was speaking to my son, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him, he is working in this field. I was talking to him, and I said that I think AI is essential for the future, and I think learning has been incomplete in the days before AI. And we had a very nice debate, and we realized that learning has never been incomplete. It has always been in the hands of the wonderful teachers who knew that different children in their classroom needed different approaches. They always knew that they had to work with the ones who needed a little extra help, and they had to challenge the ones who were already moving ahead of the rest of the class. AI has helped us, and it is another tool in our huge armor. And we as teachers are very good at collecting any tool that helps us in the classroom. And AI has become the new tool that helps us. It will help us to leave the drudgery of repetitive work behind, and AI can take care of it while we sit with our learners and look at the work that they do and help them to personalize their learning journey. I think that is the greatest boon of all technology. When a simple machine came in, it helped us to uh, wash our clothes. We were very happy because then we could spend a little extra time with our family. I think AI does the same for us in the classroom. It helps the teachers to figure out what exactly will excite the child. So we use some games in mathematics, and we use a program which is personalized to such an extent that each child can play those games, which have been overseen by the class teachers and the heads of departments. Each child will play those games at their own time. They will move on to the next level when they are good and ready. We have got a similar system for reading. The child, if the child is at a particular level of reading, be it the fifth level or the seventh level, they can continue to read more and more and more books at their own level, or they can decide to explore the next one. They can be challenged and they can be comforted by the intelligence which is artificial in nature. I also read somewhere that artificial intelligence helps us to develop all 21st century skills. I think I'll open that, I'll leave it open for debate. However, I do understand that some 21st century skills like critical thinking, planning ahead, uh, working on the process of innovation, understanding how design learning works is definitely helped by AI. It also gives us a lot of choice. It has opened up the world to us, and then our choices have become vast. And whether we are a student or a teacher, I think those choices are really exciting. There are lots and lots of websites which give us many different views on artificial intelligence, but I think there is a lot of excitement ahead. Thank you very much. I think my colleagues have covered most of the relevant points, but it is still a very, very exciting journey ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chatterjee, madam. I think you spoke wonderfully well, and it was very rightly said that the teachers are more equipped now, and they'll be able to balance their personal space in much more better way, and they'll be delivering also. And I was reading somewhere that today the patience level of people have gone very down. So when they talk to their friends, so nobody has got patience to actually talk to them. So in this, like Siri or maybe these different kind of uh, artificial intelligence software that Apple, Samsung, Google are using, so they can talk to you as a friend. You can share things with them, and gradually they'll become more intelligent.
Very
So
right.
it can also come up as a social cause also. Now we do it to search certain things on Amazon or maybe certain other technical stuff, but we can share quite a lot of time with them, quite a lot of positive time with them, and
Absolutely. I
and
just
the
remembered.
Hmm. Yeah,
Sorry to
please.
interrupt. I just remembered. Earlier, we used to say today it's very hot or today it's very cold. But now we know, Alexa, what is the temperature? And Alexa will tell us, and
Yes.
we can tell you exactly it's 29 degrees today. It must be hot.
And, and the best thing is Alexa is not going to judge us for anything. So we will have a friend very soon, and it is said that in 2029 or maybe in 2031, you will have New York Times written by an artificial intelligence software, and they would
Yes.
write better than the editors. And all the journals, all the research papers, what they do, they have made certain artificial intelligence softwares which write those journals, and they post it as a dummy journal just to check whether the scrutiny of those journals are done properly or not. And one of the professors, they have developed a kind of an answering app. He was teaching around 500 students at one time. So there were quite a lot of queries in between. So they collected all the question answers related to their particular domain. And then they made an artificial intelligence software, and they put a time delay into it so that they feel that on the other side there is some person who is answering those questions. So, and it's working fine with little bit of tweaking. So quite a lot of repetitive work can be done with this. So that can also make our life more pleasant, more relaxed, and more productive also. So the world is going to be very exciting in 2029, 2030. So thank you very much for the insights, madam. It was really interesting. Now I come to Dr. Rajesh. Dr. Rajesh, welcome again. Now, your point of discussion would be artificial intelligence helps us to gain knowledge and also enhance our decision making ability. Now, we would like you to focus like if the teacher gets all the data about attention span of the child, the common mistakes the child is doing, which all topics they need some special focus so that they need to revisit those topics and then work on those topics. So, how exactly, according to you, this artificial intelligence softwares would help the teachers and the students and the school as a whole to improve their decisions?
Uh,
Over to you.
Good evening, Anitji, and good evening, all the panelists. Uh, Human intelligence and artificial intelligence. I was correlating both these things while I joined in the beginning at 5 o'clock. I was able to listen everybody, those who were there in the panel, but I was not able to get on the panel. I was trying to get that what the reason. Then somebody told me that you have joined with some different link, and this link was supposed to be there. But that link which everybody was having was not with Mr. Chandel. Human intelligence will remain human intelligence. We cannot replace it, as Anit ji said in the very beginning, that we cannot replace the teacher in the classroom. Uh, I'm asked that can artificial intelligence create knowledge? I believe artificial intelligence can create and elaborate the knowledge to the infinity, we can say. Uh, because we are working with the machines right now, and if we are working with the machines for the artificial intelligence, then the process and the use of the knowledge that enhances at every step. And by building the machine with the sufficient conceptual resources, by giving all the inputs which are required there, the devices which are required over there, so we are talking about the data. If we talk about the increase of the knowledge, sir initiated beautifully that we are having the children today when we are taking online sessions. Earlier we were taking the offline sessions, training programs. I'm more into this venture of the CBSE also. We were doing our inspections of the CBSE schools earlier. We are doing the inspections of the CBSE schools now also by sitting at home. We are doing inspections. So what is this, that we have enhanced the working style, and we have increased the radius of our limits. Earlier, we were able to give the training programs to the teachers, those who are in the nation. Right now, we are talking about we are talking to the teachers in the African continent. We are talking to the principals of the different continent, and we are successfully able to do that. And we are rating everybody. We have got so many tools when we are doing these trainings, that we can just do all the transformations online, and we can judge, we can guess, we can address those issues, we can get the issues online, and we can resolve those issues immediately. I think knowledge is getting enhanced every bit of second nowadays. If as a principal we are not remaining updated and are not connected with these subjects, I think we are going to lose. And we are the lucky ones, sir. I believe the panel must be getting agreed to me that we are the lucky ones, those who were able to create the result of the students without their examinations. We could not conduct their exams, but we have written a history by creating their result. What helped us? What was the
Sorry,
knowledge behind
sorry,
that?
sir, I'm interrupting you for a minute. I think this
Hmm.
is going to ignite our thoughts also, and you can also throw light on this. Uh, One of Mr. Sujata Mitra, he posted on his Facebook few days back that he was working with the education department of Israel to develop a system where computers and internet is allowed during examination. And whereas in one state of northern India, the internet was cut off because the examination was going on.
Difference is there, sir. This
Yes,
is what I want you to come in, that if we are
yes, sir.
just disconnecting the internet, that examinations are going on, but there are also such tools, sir, that was being utilized for the purpose that the student sitting and writing exam, after every 10 seconds the photograph is getting clicked and it is getting uploaded side by
Israel,
side.
Israel is making a system where students are legally allowed to appear in examinations through internet.
Sir,
And
Arora sir, yes, Arora sir, I think you will second it, that we, the principal, those who are working in the schools today, if we are depriving our students from such facilities, we are not in the race with the students of the developed countries. We have to come up with AI has to be part. AI has to be taken, we have to take the assistance of AI for this particular purpose. India is the country, sir, which has brought the curriculum on artificial intelligence in the schools. Whatever may be the scenario, But artificial intelligence, if it has come to the schools, if Python is being taught in the classes from 9th, 10th, and 11th, 12th onwards, then this is something. You are from the computer background. I was listening you while I was not in the panel, but I know that you must be getting agreed to it that India has done something in the schools for the better future. So the
Exactly.
knowledge is getting enhanced. That is one part. Second, if I'm coming to the NEP also, sir, then when we are talking about the competency subjects which are being introduced in the artificial intelligence is coming in the organic living. We are coming with the new education policy. We are coming with artificial intelligence subjects, and the subject will be organic living, which
Very
which
right.
which we, if we are talking about the holistic health, then we are coming with the subject like design thinking in the new education policy, and these are the subjects which are coming in the school. If we are talking about the data science, then we are coming with the machine learning in the schools. So
Very right.
if we are into this type of the steps, I believe that we are enhancing the knowledge. And one more very important point, that's the second part you asked, sir, that artificial intelligence helps to enhance our decision making ability or not. I think you yourself answered the question that if we are having a class of 40, earlier teacher in the first period is coming to the class and giving NSN to everybody. Bell is gone. Second teacher comes, give another medicine to all 40 students. Though we know the Bloom's taxonomy, we know the multiple intelligence, we know that no two children are similar. Every child is different. Every individual is different. I'm not talking about the inclusion of the, we can say, the children, those who are with the special needs. I'm not talking about those ones. But the children, those who are sitting in on two different benches are totally different. IQ or both are different. Somebody might be a good sports person, other might be a good quiz master. So this is something that here comes the AI, which will be letting us to understand the huge data. How many children are good in this particular area? How many children can understand? How many can create? How many can evaluate? How many can be in different parts? So I think Punjab is very close to my heart, sir. As you said that you are working in Punjab, and you quoted some, I think, Hoshiarpur. For a long time, I was in the periphery of Hoshiarpur, Nawa Shahar, Jalandhar, and all. But since last 10, 11 years, I'm working in Jabalpur. So AI is the one which has brought all of us all together by sitting at the different parts of the country. Pandey sir is sitting in Visakhapatnam, ma'am is sitting in Mumbai, somebody is sitting in Haryana. So this is the ICT. But when we are talking about the AI, sir, my answer to the questions is it is enhancing the knowledge every bit of minute. And yes, of course, it enhances the decision making power of the teachers, that how we have to go with the data. If the teachers are not data driven today, if the teachers are not trained to be data driven today, that mathematics subject, how many are good in the concept, how many are good in the numerical area, how many are good in the different part of the answering, so that that teacher who is not data driven will be losing something in the life also. So is for the principals as well. We principals need to be data driven as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rajesh sir. Data, machine learning, artificial learning is the need of an hour, very rightly said. But I'll be so excited once we get this kind of a data. Now, as educationists, what we do, we get data, we do micro analysis of all the examination papers, answer sheets. So we get to know that this particular topic, this particular subtopic, the student has done certain mistakes, and then we work on those topics so that they can score better. But now with this artificial intelligence, they'll monitor each gestures of the teacher student. They would understand what activity was done so that the learning improved in the class. So the teacher will get a very correct and very synchronized feedback that when you did this activity, this much number of the student in the class, their attention span was better and they were into deep learning. And when you were asking questions, these 10 students were responding to it, and their brain started thinking, like their brain muscles started working at that time. So the moment we understand that what is going inside the brain, how the student is understanding that particular concept, and we get exact data of it, as Mr. Rajesh said, that understanding the data, getting the data will help us out. So I think this is the way forward, and the whole education system is going to change. So very rightly, sir said that if as principals we need to move forward, we also need to change. Now coming to Dr. Revati Srinivasan, she is Education Director, Salochna Devi Singhania School, Mumbai. Now, madam, you need to help us and share your thoughts about, is artificial intelligence in classroom a need of an hour, or we can wait for some time, or we should start it as early as possible? Because I still remember when we this concept of smart board came into picture in 90 2003, 4, 5, or these projectors came into picture in 2001, 2002. So we used to tell our senior teachers that you just put this into your classroom. We have got a whiteboard also. We have got a smart board also. You use it, you don't use it, but allow us to place into your classroom. So, but now today everybody is using it. So please tell us, madam, that should we do it now or should we wait for another 5 years?
Thank you,
Over to you.
Dr. Rura. Thank
Thank
you very much. I've been listening, very interesting talks, very interesting points that were raised. And as I was thinking about the topic last night, I just realized that a 2-year-old comes and say, Alexa, play Tom or whatever, Tommy and the mouse kind of a story. Or it can be Siri, and the Siri recognizes your voice. You can have robots that come and give your guests coffee and tea and water. Okay, you have the Echo, and then you have your Uber when you book. We just get in and then we say estimated time of arrival that you get. Okay, you can track anybody down at any point of time, track your delivery of your products. The airlines uses artificial intelligence by when it gets onto the autopilot mode, and whether it is your social networking sites, for example, it tags your name to a person, so that also happens in Google. In Twitter, you can give chats to join, and feeds of news that is of interest to you, all of that. You can do online shopping on Amazon, and that Amazon suggests and prompts you what you can buy based on your past history of purchases or your interest that it does. Everybody tracks everything, and in all aspects. Then why should education be left behind? It's affected and sort of touched all every aspect of our life. So the question itself doesn't arise, do we really need artificial intelligence? My answer to this question would be very, very emphatically yes, we need. At the same time, I also have a note to make. A note that says that I think we have come to a point where we cannot be talking about a technology as a different part of our education system. Education and technology, we can't be talking about that anymore. We have to understand that everything is going to be intermingled and it is interdependent, and one is to be used for the other. And I think that's the stage that we have come to. And so when we really come to a stage like this, it means very, very clearly to us that we have to understand that just like we have roads, railways, drinking water facility, and of course electricity and all of power, for example, and we say that's a part of country's development. We have to think in terms of technology being a part of our country's development. So that is going to become an essential part of an infrastructure for a country. It's not anymore something that only the haves can have and the have-nots are left behind. Not at all. In our last 2 years, we've seen this happen. We've seen that there has been a divide. There are places, we are all coming from schools where we could do and use technology to a large extent, but I know of my own schools which are in very, very rural areas, where it's been a Herculean task for parents to get that access. We had to be providing them different accesses. So when we are in a case where there is that kind of a problem of access, or the availability of even devices, forget about availability of the interconnectivity, but the availability of devices, we have to start looking at our whole education system differently. We have to start looking at our priorities in government budgets very differently. there has to be amount allocated to technology and technological advancement in education so that the entire country gets upgraded and upskilled. And I really think that this pandemic may have taught us, given us more reasons to say, yes, we have to have artificial intelligence so that we are able to upgrade our standard of education. I have three reasons for this. First is employment. Two, and employment, when I'm saying, I'm talking in terms of the future of, the future of workspace that we are going to be in. The second component that I think is ethics. And ethics is now going to play a very, very important role in our system, where I think civic sense gets into us. We also deal with social aspects and social implications on everything that we do. And the third aspect is education. Education as a whole, where uh, education is not only delivered by schools to children, but also gets the involvement of the community. Who is the community? The community of parents, students, teachers, educators, policymakers, who really will pool everybody together and give the right kind of knowledge and skills so that the children are future ready. What is the future? I know not. But yet, children, even in the rural segment, children who come from maybe a little less privileged families, are also able to access the kind of knowledge and skills that will be required in the future. Let them not be in a world of their own, thinking that this is how the completion of syllabus is what's going to happen. And I was just looking at the 21st century skills because they become mentioned that. And I was wanting to point that out. The major skills that we can think in terms of is, I would like to say, is six C's. My six C's are: one is your critical thinking component. The second would be the creativity component, because creativity will lead to ideation, will lead to innovation. And the collaborative component, which is where AI will step in hugely, because you just have access to any place and every possible resource. So I think that's another skill that's going to be required. Simple thing, common sense. I think that's going to be a skill that we have to now hone in our children, which needs to be developed, because I think today education is all about common sense, put into action. And of course, to me, character building is very, very important. Character is going to play a very important role if we have to have an ethical world around. And above everything, it is citizenship, where I respect and take pride in being an a person, a countryman, and so also I learn to respect somebody else's. So the global citizenship and being a part of one's own nation, both of them are very important. So while I say I can't define a skill set, I think to me these six skills are very important, and none of these skills I can imagine without artificial intelligence. The reason is that artificial intelligence is going to go open to me a plethora of opportunities where I can interact with people across the world, across my country, across to every nook and corner of the country, giving them, and many often, let me tell you that we learn our patriotism from the very rural segment, where you can see the children swell with pride when they sing their national anthem. And I always tell my children, look at the way they stand and sing. Okay, you can feel that pride. You रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं. That's the way they sing the national anthem, and I wish every child feels that. So how are you going to learn? Connect them across, and I think that's the way they will. I think where I also think artificial intelligence will help us is breaking the routines, as Devika rightly pointed out. You know, mundane things is what actually keeps teachers bored. They hate to do something in a routine manner. They love creativity, they love the challenges. So let's keep throwing challenges in the teaching learning fraternity. We have moved from the concept of teaching to a concept of learning. The teacher herself is a learner, not a teacher anymore. And I think she's only a facilitator, or he's a facilitator. And I think in today's world, when we are talking in terms of project based learning, I would like to take up an example of a theme based learning and theme based project based learning. And if you're taking a theme and you start working on it, I think it leads to an inquiry based learning, it leads to researches, but all of that helps you to connect to the real world. So in our classrooms, instead of teaching them what is in the textbook with a full stop, and if we teach them history with a full stop, instead of that, just put a comma and ask them to define what history is to be. I think we are actually helping them to connect to the real world, connect to the real world through the virtual world. And I think that's where artificial intelligence, according to me, comes in. I would like to emphasize again on the personalized learning. I think brought out beautifully where you have special children and they will need a little more input. I think students and teachers get a whole lot of resources. They'll be able to analyze students, but as he rightly said, the analysis should not be so much that it drives children away from stats. They should not be driven by the numbers alone, because if the joy of living is of learning is killed, I think nothing is enjoyable anymore. If I don't like to come to school every morning, and I love the fact that I'm staying on in school the whole day and I'm having an extra hour to stay back, I think that's what children look forward to, and I think that's what we have to make. I think it's a more immersive learning component. Assessments helps us to analyze better, and I think there's no limitation of space and time, so we don't have to say no. The school needs some more space. This space has to be built up because that's a space that's absolutely endless. But I think it also helps us to show mastery over everything that we do. Yes, is it going to be a replacement of teachers? My answer is yes and a no. It's going to be a replacement of the not committed teachers, teachers who are not willing to learn, teachers who do not want to put in that extra effort. Yes, it is going to be a replacement for such teachers. It will not be a replacement for the teachers who are passionate and driven by their commitment and their creativity and wanting to deliver something more impressionable, as well as where the outcome is very very positive. So I think we have to come to this point where teachers cannot take a profession because it's a job. We have come to a point where they have to take the profession because they love teaching, because only then will they be able to accept artificial intelligence or any technology. I think, to me, machine learning is a subset of artificial learning, artificial intelligence. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that all artificial intelligence is machine learning. But I think that gives us ways to analyze as to where it is. Where I also use it rapidly is the conversational artificial intelligence. That's where we can clarify doubts of children individually. It's just like the chatbot that we use for Swiggy and Zomato and things like that. We can use it for that. Why can't we use it in our homes and our classrooms? That's my point. I think it's also very good for teacher training. It predefines training, and where I look at teacher training is the multiple level training that we can do for teachers. I think that's very important, because a teacher must know where her competencies lie and what are her competencies. And if the teacher hasn't got or lags behind in certain things, this kind of an assessment of teachers or teacher training helps us to, or with artificial intelligence, we can help us to bridge the gap that she may be having in her learning. And I'll give you a simple example. I have an examination in my school carrying almost 40 marks, where the teacher actually conducts the test, which is an online test. She conducts the test, and after she has taught a particular unit, and after she does that, she analyzes the class performances, and from the analysis of class performance, she goes back to class and reteaches that lesson, perhaps in a different way, little more interesting. The idea of doing this, and then she realizes that the class performance has improved more than 30%. Now why does that happen? Because the teacher realizes that she needs to improve on or change her strategy in teaching. So instead of telling the teacher, hey, your class was not good, I think it's a nice way to say that, the teacher realizes for herself, which means we are talking about self learning and importance of self learning for children. I'm also talking about self learning for teachers. I think just now there was a beautiful example of the band, okay, where the student knows or the teacher knows whether the child has concentrated or not. I certainly wouldn't want that on my head. Okay, but at the same time, I'm sure the children would never want. But at the end of the day, I think we must realize that if it improves learning, if it improves our creativity, if it helps us to sort of broaden our horizons of thinking, and we create more mathematicians, more scientists, more greater homemakers, greater thinkers, greater storytellers, the new world requires a new mind, and we need that. And for
Thank you.
that, well,
Thank you very much, Dr. Revati. I think you wonderfully stated 6C and how this different Google, Facebook have made an intrusion into our life, and all these shopping apps and social media apps would always take our mind to the things where we are thinking. So very rightly said that we need to have teachers by choice, not by chance. So there has to be a passion in them, so that with that passion they can move ahead. I think it was a wonderful session, and I must take an opportunity to thank each one of you for sharing your thoughts. And it was really quite thought provoking. And we all leaders, if we are committed to make this a part of our working, not teach this as a subject. If we just teach this artificial intelligence as a subject, then I don't think so there any change would happen. Students would write question answer, and it would also become an history, civics, geography kind of a subject. We need to believe into this. We need to apply. We need to use it into day-to-day functioning. We have to develop tools, use those tools, and empower teachers, students, and parents to use those tools where their child would be getting the personalized intention, which will be more engaging, which would be more personal, and which would actually take them to the next level. So thank you very much for your thoughts, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Over to you, Krishan.
Thank you, sir. The session was wonderful, great, moderated by you, and each and every panelist have putting their very wonderful thoughts. Special thank to Rajesh sir. Maybe some technical glitches, he joined late, but well presented view by their side. So thank you for all the things up, and now we are moving with that certificate distribution process, and starting with Mr. Anit Arora, Principal, Cambridge International School. This, thank you, sir. Thank you for moderating the session.
Thank you, sir.
Devika Chatterjee, Director Principal, JBCN International School, Borivali, Mumbai. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dr. Jasjeet Kesud, Principal, OPS Vidya Mandir, Karnal, Haryana. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Rajesh Kumar Chandel, Principal, Gyan Ganga International School, Jabalpur. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Krishna ji.
Revati Srinivasan, Education Director, Srimati Sulochana Devi Singhania School, Mumbai, Maharashtra. Thank you, ma'am. And S.K. Pandey, sir, Principal, Delhi Public School, Visakhapatnam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
all the
Thank you.
panelists.
Thank you.